welcome back, everybody. Close to 40% of children who have migrated to South Africa from other countries are not recorded and have no documentation. The Scalabrini Centre of Cape Town, which conducted the research, says this phenomenon is the worst in Limpopo. The majority of children with no documents were born in Zimbabwe, followed by the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as well as South Africa. Undocumented children can face difficulties in accessing basic needs such as education and healthcare. To tell us more about the report, we are now joined via Skype by Lotte Manicom, Advocacy Communications Officer at the Scalabrini Centre of Cape Town. Lotte, it's good to have you. Thank you very, very much for joining us here on the programme.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about how this actual survey was conducted.
So the survey was conducted because as an organisation we realised that a lot of children, refugee and migrant children, were struggling to access documents. So obviously the survey had certain processes and when they wanted, we were allowed to contact children's homes, every children's home in Western Cape, Limpopo and Gauteng. We asked them if they had foreign children in their care, and if they did, we asked if we could do an anonymous survey with the social worker. So we didn't do the surveys with children directly unless they were old enough. And then we conducted the survey to understand why they left their country of origin, how they ended up in care, their demographics, and with that data, that informed our suggestions for dealing with the issues faced by these children.
Now, what we're looking at, obviously, is a specific age group. From what I'm reading from the survey, it's ages between 11 and 18, and many of them have been in the country for at least 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So the report showed that most of these children have been in South Africa for quite a long time, which obviously, especially the young person, means that their identities are really morphing around being in South Africa. Very few older children and very few much younger children. So as you say, mainly between 18 and 11. Okay. But really lack of documentation was the main issue that emerged from that report.
What are the main reasons? I mean, what are the contributing factors to the fact that they still remain unregistered after all this time?
Yeah, good question. So they fall into two groups, basically. There's those children who have fled country of origin, for example, some it's Congo, for reasons of conflict and war. They should be documented as refugees, but that in itself is quite difficult. Children that come from non-refugee reasons, so maybe they come with their family for opportunities or education or to find family. Found quite a lot of children come to South Africa to search for family members. There's really no documentation option for these children. Getting a study permit, for example, is almost impossible for kinds of children that out. So they end up undocumented, which is not only negative for the child, but also for the South African state, because we feel that the South African state would also want to document those within.
Yeah. I mean, the most incredible thing is to even hear that some of these children are actually South Africans. I mean, I know that we're still looking at a lot of children that come from neighbouring countries, but children that are actually South African are also undocumented. How does that happen?
So the report looked at children, as you said, a lot of other countries, 15 countries in fact, including Congo and Burundi and Zim, and they would have migrated alone or with an adult to South Africa. The research also looked at some children that were born in South Africa, but to non-South African parents. So they are still considered foreign in the sense that just because they're born in South Africa doesn't mean that they automatically get South African citizenship. If they're born to two non-South African parents, they would adopt the nationality first of their parents.
You know, one of the most disturbing things that any child can go through is fleeing a country where they're born, wherever it may be, and coming to another country by themselves. And I'm reading here that 27% of these young children that entered the country actually came alone. What do we do as a country to assist these young children that are crossing borders together and are completely alone?
So, absolutely. Theoretic, a child that has come alone to South Africa and has conflict is, in terms of law, most protected in the sense that there's a clear route to getting documented. You know, as any child in South Africa, you'd automatically be considered in need of protection by the children's. Theoretically, that should be in children's that should be given a refugee status. Obviously, that detracts from the trauma that this young person has been through. But what the research did find is that the child in that state legally is limited. A child that, for education purpose, falls under the rate because there's no documentation option.
We have got such a terrible connection, Lotte. It's breaking my heart because I really want to hear the findings of this, and you're breaking up so much. But I have to conclude with asking you this question: What do we do? What is the solution to try and get over this situation?
The solution, we feel, would be to develop documentation for these children, and to improve family trust. So in some child turn to, but family trust very difficult because a lot of resources. So those are our two suggestions.
Lotte, thank you very much for talking to us. Lotte Manicom is the Advocacy Communications Officer at the Scalabrini Centre, talking about the recent survey that found that close to 40% of children who have entered the country from foreign countries don't have any documentation. And those born in this country as well, that are born in South Africa, don't have documentation either. We apologize for the poor sound quality on that interview, a highly important interview, but unfortunately it just seems that the technology was letting us down there on Skype. But I hope you got the gist of the conversation there that we had with Lotte. Let's take a break here on the program.